Liam had a list of 28 ideal partner criteria, right down to the shape of his eyes. After 10 years of being by his side, I never thought that one day the girl who fit his criteria perfectly would actually show up. I resigned myself to leaving, ending a long and protracted crush. But then Liam came to me late one night, bearded and haggard, begging me to come back to him. I looked him in the eye and whispered, "I'm sorry, but you don't meet my ideal partner criteria anymore." On my birthday, Liam arrived late. He pushed the door open, and just as I was about to speak, he turned around and said softly, "Slow down." A girl in a cream-colored coat peeked out from behind him, her hair coiled at the back of her head and held in place by a hair claw clip, with loose strands of hair falling to the side of her face, making her look gentle and lovely. She smiled at us, and Liam hooked his mouth to introduce her. "Your sister-in-law, Emily, meet her." The lively atmosphere suddenly hit the stop button. The smile on my face froze, and the people around me turned their heads to look at me in unison, their eyes strange. I read the meaning in their eyes and stiffly squeezed out a smile at Liam's darkly warning gaze. "Welcome, sister-in-law. Have a seat," I snapped, and the others began to greet each other with feigned ease. "You're not being righteous, bringing your sister-in-law out so late. Are you afraid that we'll abduct her?" Emily pursed her lips and smiled. The students next to her looked surprised. Emily pursed her lips and smiled, while the students next to her looked surprised. "Hey, your sister-in-law really meets all your ideal partner criteria. Where did you find this kind of fairy daughter?" I looked at Emily. Her plain white face was shining with pearl-like luster under the light, and her eyes were as soft as water when they were curved up, which was probably Liam's standard for a lady. Liam has a famous ideal partner criteria, which he made when he was 17 years old. There are 28 items in it, and it's too much to write on one sheet, so the rest of them have to be written on the opposite side of the sheet, inside the big character education, small to the shape of the eyes, and even have requirements. What to be gentle character lady, speak voice to be like soothing voice, eyes if round. The funny thing is that of the 28 requirements, I don't meet any of them. I have a hot temperament, I speak with a thick accent, and I have upturned, slanted almond-shaped eyes. What's even more ridiculous than the ideal partner criteria is that I've been in love with Liam for 10 years. Liam smiles smugly, his sharp eyebrows gleaming. "I'm telling you, I've met every single one of those 28 criteria," he said. He hooked his arm around Emily's neck and gave her a heavy kiss on the cheek. His eyes were so tender that they couldn't be melted. "This is the person of my destiny." Some of them laughed and wished him well, while the rest looked at my face and remained silent. "Nina, I've been taking care of you since you were a child. Aren't you going to toast your sister-in-law?" I looked at Liam, and he looked at me with a smile on his lips. Under the light, his features were three-dimensional and handsome, good-looking as always. But I don't know why, but I feel so strange that I can't recognize him. I know that Liam is doing this on purpose. He is making clear his attitude towards Emily, and he is also drawing a line with me, but he knew how cruel that statement was to me, knowing that I had liked him for so many years. The atmosphere became stagnant with me not saying a word. My friend beside me got a little upset and stood up to speak. I pulled her back and lifted my goblet a second before the smile disappeared from Liam's face, pulling up the corners of my mouth to toast them remotely. "You're right." My voice was a little dry, and I struggled to speak. "Then I wish you a long and happy 100 years, I said as I took a drink. There was nothing spicy about the red wine, but it burned all the way to the bottom, burning my organs and shrinking them together. It's good that I can't tell if it's heartache or not. When I was 17, it was the 5th year that Liam and I had been childhood friends. Liam was a real pain in the ass at the time, always picking on me. He would pull my hair in class, intentionally tapping me on the shoulder from the left and then calling me names from the right, causing me to hit him when I couldn't stand it anymore. He also called me a pig, saying that I was so stupid that I would never get married. But he will also bring me milk tea every day, will be in my broken foot while scolding me stupid dead while carrying me home, roughly wipe away my tears after racking his brains to coax me. I don't know when I fell in love with Liam, but when I reacted, his glowing face was the only thing in my eyes. A young girl's heart first sprang to life in adolescence, and I tried Liam in a shitty and crude way, pretending to ask him carelessly on the way home, "Liam, what kind of girls do you like?" He thought for a long time, but didn't answer me. A few days later, after I'd forgotten all about it, Liam excitedly approached me at recess and slapped a piece of paper on my desk, his eyebrows raised. "I figured it out. That's the way I like it." It took me half a day to realize what he was talking about. After picking up the paper, I realized that there were actually a dozen criteria listed on it, and when I flipped it over, it was great. There was another side at the back, which was also full of writing. I said, "Are you kidding me?" Liam was all serious. "Funny my ass, I've been thinking about it for days. My future girlfriend must meet each and every one of these criteria." It would be a lie to say that I wasn't sad at that moment. After all, I was shocked to realize that I didn't meet any of Liam's ideal partner criteria. The conditions on this list were literally the opposite of what I had written. In other words, Liam, he didn't even like me. However, I was soon relieved, because the 28 criteria were too strict, such as height of 168, hair must be undyed and naturally long and straight, eyes must be round and big, and speaking voice must be as gentle as nothing. How in the world can there be someone who fits his criteria so perfectly? I sometimes joke with Liam, if you continue to be like this, you will only be alone for the rest of your life. But he always believed that he could find the girl of his dreams. Over the years, Liam has never settled down, and the women around him have been around for no more than 3 months. I really thought he would see me behind him after 10 years of chasing. I was the only one who could put up with Liam's childishness and bad temper, and I thought I was the best person for him. It's just that in hindsight, these thoughts are ridiculous and pathetic. I thought of myself as a substitute, but I didn't realize that other people didn't even think about substituting. Now, the woman who perfectly fits Liam's fantasies has finally appeared. After 10 years, his dream has come true, and I've finally come to my senses. My 27th birthday ended in a blur. I was heartbroken, and everyone around me knew how I felt, and it was a bit awkward. The room was a little dull, but Liam, being the smart guy he is, played with the glass in his hand and let out a laugh with his eyelashes lowered. "It's not fun, so you guys have fun first." "Well, leave first." He stood up with Emily in his arms and handed me a gift bag. "Your sister-in-law picked this out for you. Let's see if you like it." I reluctantly smiled. "Thank you, sister-in-law." Liam insisted, "Nina, see if the gift from your sister-in-law is to your liking." In the past, I didn't know what people meant when they said that their hearts ached when they fell out of love, and I always thought that it was an exaggerated metaphor. Now I realized that when people are embarrassed to a certain extent, their heart really hurts, as if it's being held by a hand and twisted hard, and it hurts so much that I almost have to arch my body to fight it. I couldn't hold on to my smile and whispered, "I'll go back and look again." The smile fades from Liam's face and he says in a single word, "You watch it now." Silence grew around us. Even the breathing was shallowed. I don't know why Liam humiliated me like this. Obviously last month he would have sent me my favorite cake, rubbed my head and told me to take me to Disneyland for the holiday. But in just 1 month, everything changed. Everyone's eyes were on me. Some watching, some worried, some curious, all waiting for my reaction. The color drained from my face, and it took every ounce of strength I had to keep myself from running for the door. Emily probably saw what was going on and tugged on Liam's shirt softly. "Callum, or let's go first." Liam didn't move. I tore the bag several times with trembling fingers before opening the gift box. Inside was a bottle of perfume. Very expensive, but with a floral scent that I hated. I gave a smile that was worse than a cry and whispered, "I love it. Thank you, sister-in-law." Emily smiled at me, her voice gentle and watery. "It's good that you like it." Liam then withdrew his eyes with satisfaction and waved his hand casually. "As long as you like it, well, leave now." Then he held Emily's hand and left the house in big strides. Behind me, some of my friends couldn't hold it in and pushed out the door after me. I could feel everyone was looking at me, and I knew I was humiliated, so I should have pretended that nothing had happened and continued to pretend to be decent, but I really couldn't hold it in any longer. My eyes were sore from suppressing tears for so long. I covered my face woefully, threw down aim going to the bathroom and ran out. A result, I had just walked down a corridor when I heard my friend's angry voice. Liam, do you have a heart or not? Nina has been waiting for you for so many years, but even the coldest heart is a fucking stone. Nina has been waiting for you for so many years. She's a fucking rock. She's even the coldest heart. I couldn't help but poke my head out and saw Liam pinching the cigarette with 2 fingers, his face expressionless. I in the white mist. His voice was cold and inorganic like indifference. Waiting even longer to dislike it is still disliking it. I've been holding her back for so many years, I don't want to hold her back any longer. I backdam it to the corridor. Love is really a very wonderful thing. Can make life, let people die. Let a person become a person, not a ghost. The stabbing made it so unbearable. Probably because it was him who stabbed out. I suddenly remembered my birthday last year. The epidemic was so severe that I didn't dare to call a party and planned to have a cake by myself at 12 o'clock in the middle of the night. The doorbell suddenly rang. I went to open the door and there was Liam standing outside with the wind and snow in his face. His eyelashes were covered with water droplets, and his eyes were as bright as stars in the sky. Happy birthday, he gasped and held up the cake in his hand, which had been shaken out of shape. The melted snow dripping down his chin and onto the ground. Obviously, he was a mess, yet he stood in the dimly lit hallway, and my heart instantly burst into flames, and I couldn't take it back. I shuddered. I thought you were traveling. Liam casually wiped a handful of water from his face, a small smile curling the corners of his mouth. I drove 7 hours and finally made it. He glanced at his cell phone in triumph. He was on a business trip across the province, and the weather was so bad that his flight was delayed, so he drove himself back by night. His eyes swept over the cake. The smile on Liam's face disappeared in an instant, and he wrinkled his nose. Damn it, I ran too fast. How did I become this bear? The cake was awful. The butter melted into a ball and was covered with melted snow, but I thought it was the sweetest cake I'd ever eaten. I brought out the wine. Neither of us is a big fan of wine, and we stepped on the box and drank a case of craft beer, drinking to the end. He has been on the head. His face flew on a scarlet red, pointing at me to ridicule. You're not young anymore. Why are you still spending your birthday alone? I sneered back. Just like you have found. Hypocrite. Light see others, black see not black themselves. After a short pause, I continued, if you insist on sticking to your 28 rules, you may have to be a single dog for the rest of your life. Liam didn't refute me this time. He held the can in his long fingers. His eyelashes lowered and fluttered like a crow's feather. After a while, he smiled. The night wind ruffled his black hair, and a snowflake melted under his eyes, crystallizing. A moment later, he raised his head and looked at me fixedly. Obsidian eyes seemed to have a kind of inexplicable gravitational force, attracting me to constantly fall into the downward spiral. I cannot even control their own consciousness, can only stupidly look at him. Liam slowly damn it close over. His body wrapped around the faint smell of alcohol. I was a drunken mess. Just when I thought Liam was going to kiss me, he opened his mouth. His voice was hoarse and low, seductive. I just felt like even my soul was being consumed by him. And sweat broke out all around me, even though it was a cold winter's day. He said, Nina, if I haven't found this person by the time I'm 30, let's make it work. I was so happy that I wanted to get up and go for a run, yelling and screaming. My long-cherished dream was about to come true. And the man I had been chasing for nearly 10 years would finally belong to me. When I think about it now, it's both funny and sad. He just lightly gave me a substitute position, and I was so happy that I couldn't sleep at night. What's even more pathetic is that now I don't even have a replacement. I waited 10 years for Liam. Liam was luckier than me. He waited 10 years and got Emily. I am not happy in love, but an overworked employee doesn't have the right to be sad. Recently, I had to work late the next day to catch up with a report I had fallen out of love with the day before. One after another, other colleagues left, and I was the only one who was still busy in the darkness. In fact, I feel quite good. I can focus on my work, not have to think about Liam. After being busy for a while, fireworks suddenly exploded outside the window, scattering golden points of light in the sky. I froze for a moment and picked up my cell phone. only then reacting to the fact that it was New Year's Eve and why parents divorced when I was very young to start their own families, and I grew up with my grandmother, who passed away, so I spent all my New Year's Eve with Liam. It's just that starting from the new year, I'm probably going to be on my own. Randomly open the circle of friends to brush, I suddenly ice freeze. Liam, who hasn't posted a friend circle in 800 years, suddenly posted a picture of him and Emily together. I end the photo. Two people back, damn it, diffuse sky fireworks, hands clasped, romantic. Even if you let me, also can only say a biker, takeout can be directly as a movie poster. His message was only one sentence. Finally found the person who spends the holiday together. Suddenly, a big hole seemed to break in my heart, and the cold wind drilled down into my limbs, chilling me to the bone. I suddenly remembered when Liam's mom died. When Liam was still a teenager, he sat in front of his mom's grave and refused to cry out, but his lips were bitten and blood-stained. I hugged him and cried. Liam, cry it out. Liam embraced me after a long time, trembling, and I could feel his body twitching, but he didn't make a sound. I don't know how long it took. But he buried his face in the hollow of my shoulder and clutched the shirt behind me so tightly that my shoulder blotted out a wet heat, and a small beastly whimper, fierce and pitiful, came faintly to my ear. His voice was hoarse, squeezed through his teeth. Nina, I don't have a mom, I don't have a home. I'd grown up without a mom or a home, but my heart ached for him at that moment. I choked up and hugged him tightly. It's okay, Liam. It'll be with you from now on. It'll always be with you. It'll never leave. In the cold wind, we hugged each other tightly in front of the tombstone, treating each other as our only salvation. As a matter of fact, I did spend the next 10 years with Liam. His father had died young, and his mother was gone. And why parents pressed on. I really thought that we would be together for the rest of our lives. But now that Liam finally has someone he wants to be with, it seems like he keeps moving forward. Only I'm stuck where I am with that promise I made, unable to get out, only falling deeper and deeper into it. Outside the window, couples were watching the fireworks with their fingers interlocked. Children are pampered with their parents and are helplessly and lovingly picked up. I was the only one who was homeless. I suddenly felt especially hard, and my eyes were sore and dropped tears. Just as I buried my head and cried in earnest, behind me suddenly said quietly, Nina. I stopped and twisted my head to see that it was the company's first hand, General Manager Xiaoduan. I do not know why. The president of the New Year's Eve night with me, this overworked employee, appeared in the company. A moment of surprise and shock, actually choked, hiccuped loudly. The atmosphere became even more stagnant. Xiaoduan always look at my eyes, gradually complex. Probing, what grievances do you have? I don't want to say that I lost my love. That would be too embarrassing. So I choked and picked up the report that I had changed 180 times in my hand, and looked at him with tears in my eyes. Mr. Duan, I've been changing this report for a month, and I really don't know how to change it. I just don't know how to change it. Is that all? Mr. Xiaoduan sighed with relief and pulled the report out of my hand. Okay, you've been given special permission to rest. Hurry up and leave. I'll send you away. I'll see you out. He didn't wait for me to say anything and turned around and walked out. In fact, I kinda want to be here. If I go home, I'm afraid the loneliness will kill me, but the boss has given the word. I can't not give face. I can only sigh and stand up and jog to follow him. Sitting in Mr. Duan's Rolls-Royce Cullinan, I was afraid that the atmosphere would be too awkward, so I found no words to say. Mr. Duan, why don't you go home? Does the president have to work overtime too? My parents aren't back from abroad, so I have nothing to do and am here to take care of a job. He was steering with one hand. I took a sneak peek at him and couldn't help but marvel at the side of his face. Mr. Duan's looks were superior, his eyebrows were extremely deep, and I heard that his father was of mixed race, so his features were especially three-dimensional. The men and women in the company who hit on his idea can circle around the office building 3 times. I just remembered that I had heard people say that the old Duan is addicted to traveling around the world recently, and the last time I heard he had already arrived in Iceland, but I didn't expect him to come back for the new year, leaving his eldest son at home by himself. I retracted my eyes. but suddenly remembered that Mr. Duan didn't ask me where my home was, so I couldn't help but ask, "Mr. Duan, where are we going?" Duan General casually said, "It is just that you do not have a place to go. Tonight we put together a festival together." Said he put the car damned. Said he put the car. Damn it, side stop, pointing to the side of the shopping mall to me. Go or not? I froze for a moment. Liam's circle of friends appeared in my mind, and the words of refusal came to my lips, but could not be uttered. A few moments later, I got out of the car. It's not that I'm not vigilant, but Mr. Duan's style has always been very good. I've never heard of him having any gossip, and I don't think I've ever seen him have a girlfriend. Besides, he looks like this even if there is something is also he suffered. But on New Year's Eve, the shopping malls are not in business. What is he doing bringing me here? Mr. Duan, who is tall and long-limbed, walked ahead of me, and I could only keep up with him at a fast pace. Walked not a moment, he stopped in front of a brightly lit arcade. This arcade is the largest one in the city, covering a large area. Inside the things are particularly complete. I have come with Liam before, but I couldn't help but say, "Mr. Xiao Duan, people don't open their doors on New Year's Eve. You can see that there are no staff." General Manager Xiao Duan pulled up the corner of his mouth. "Oh, it's fine. This mall is my home. I've already asked them to open the machines. Just go in and have fun." I was stunned. I know that Mr. Duan's family is rich. Our company is the city's largest taxpayer. Listed on the bell. I heard that Duan's family also has a branded 5-star hotel, and I don't know how many of them have opened in the country, but I didn't expect that his family actually has a shopping mall. Mr. Duan walked towards the coin exchange machine and swept me a glance. "How many coins do you want?" In the past, when I came here, I usually just bought $100, and if I had more, I would have a heartache. But today it's a big meal. I looked at the machine, and suddenly the evil was boldly said, "I want $1,000. Mr. Xiao Duan didn't say anything and immediately pressed the amount of 1,000. Countless coins fell out. The basket couldn't hold them, so I had to replace it with a big basket which was piled up to the tip. I never thought that there are actually so many. A take. So embarrassed that did not move. Duan total T brown eyes flashed a hint of laughter. Big eyes and small stomached. I ignored him, excitedly holding the coins from machine to start playing. The two of us played racing cars, shooting baskets, dancing machines, and so on, and finally stopped in front of the coin pusher. The coins were stacked up high, and the iron plate at the back kept pushing forward. I played it every time I came, but I never pushed it away. This time there was money. I kept stuffing coins into it, but after throwing hundreds of coins the tower still didn't move. Xiao Duan always looked on from the side, pushed me out of the way, rolled up his sleeves and said, "Look at me." When he spoke, he was quite tough, but after playing for a long time, the coins in the game still did not move. I sneak a glance at him. Xiao Duan always noticed me looking at him. Thick black eyebrows tightly screwed up. Evil voice said, "What the hell?" I was creeped out. Usually when he looked at my report was also this expression, the sentence. I cautiously said, "How about a little push?" In fact, I wanted to push it every time, but I didn't dare. But since he's the boss, it should be okay to push it, right? Mr. Duan looked at me and held the coin pusher with both hands and shook it vigorously. His small arm muscle lines were strong. The coin pusher looked very light in his hands, and the tower of coins that had been built up to a height of 4 or 5 centimeters was finally overwhelmed and collapsed with a crash. I watched in shock as countless coins poured out of the exit. Too many to handle, overflowing and scattering all over the floor. The machine sounded a cheerful electronic tone. The dream had finally come true. Obviously it was just a few coins, but we were both so excited that we crouched down on the ground and picked up the ones that rolled around one by one as if we were picking up money. "How about it? Am I good?" Xiao Duan always raises his eyebrows in triumph. He usually looks reserved and ascetic, but today he has a bit of teenage spirit between his eyebrows, vivid and lively. I nodded my head like a chicken pecking at rice. Patting my ass. "It's awesome. Mr. Duan is awesome," said I. Reached out to pick up the last remaining coins on the ground, but Mr. Duan reached out faster. I immediately touched his bony hands. My hand was slightly cool, like jade, but I retracted my hand as if it had been burned. The surroundings quieted down. Only the electronic voice is still broadcasting cheerfully. I was stunned for a moment, hurriedly stood up. General Xiao Duan paused for a moment, and also stood up as if nothing had happened. Then threw the game coins in his arms into the basket in my hand. Here you go. With that, he put his hands in his pockets and walked to the side. However, I don't know if it's just me, but I always feel that his ears are a little red. The two of us played until 5 o'clock or so, and when we came out, the sky was already white. Xiao Duan always insisted on sending me home, watching me go upstairs before leaving. When I went upstairs, I still felt like I was dreaming. I actually played video games with the company's first hand all night. I don't know why he, a big boss, would accompany me, a small worker, to play for so long, although I am also a departmental vice president. But there are still many layers between him. Maybe it's the means under the harness, or maybe he's a little lonely on his own and wants to find someone to keep him company, but it doesn't matter. I'm quite grateful to him. I don't know how I would have gotten through the night without him. After that incident, Liam and I never saw each other again. I tried not to think about him, but in my midnight dreams I always dreamed of him leaving with Emily in his arms, waving to me, "Nina, my true love is here and you, the replacement, are fired." I cried desperately, begging him not to leave me behind. However, he showed no mercy and left me behind and walked away, waking up with a tearful face at every turn. I guess I've been with Liam for too long. 10 years is a dog has feelings, let alone a living, breathing human being. But it's okay, I'll get over it sooner or later. When I met Liam again, it was at a high school classmate's wedding. I hesitated for a long time after I got the invitation. I was afraid of running into Liam. I was afraid of bumping into Liam, but I had a good relationship with the bride, so I had no choice but to go. As a result, when I arrived at the entrance of the hotel, I accidentally bumped into Mr. Duan first. He was wearing an aesthetic gray high-fashion suit, damn it, on one side, but the shirt was grinning widely to loosen the top button, more than a point of wantonness. I felt that he should have seen me, but he hurriedly turned his head over and pretended not to notice me. I didn't care and walked over to greet him. "Mr. Xiao Duan, what a coincidence. Why are you here?" Mr. Duan turned around as if he had just noticed me. "Nina, it's quite a coincidence. It's my classmate's wedding," I casually asked. "You went to school with the groom?" Mr. Duan stared at me with an expression that was a little bit unfavorable for some reason. After a moment he said, "No, the bride's classmate, from high school," he emphasized. I was a bit surprised. I also went to high school with the bride, so we went to school together. Mr. Xiao Duan furrowed his brows to the point where he could have caught a fly, and grunted coldly, "Is that so?" I looked at Mr. Duan with some concern, guessing whether he had some unspeakable relationship with the bride. Otherwise, why did he suddenly have such a bad attitude? I tried to say, "Mr. Xiao Duan, some things in the past are in the past. The old doesn't go away and the new doesn't come. You don't want to be impulsive. Impulsivity is the devil," Mr. Xiao Duan said with a black face. "What kind of things are you babbling about?" The big boss seems to be angry. Perhaps he does not want to bring up the sadness. I quickly changed the subject. High school, how have not seen you how many classes you?" Little Duan always took a deep breath. "Nina. My name is Carter." I froze. I had forgotten his full name when I called him every day. Why does this name sound so familiar? I frowned and thought, and only after a long time did my eyes widen in shock. "You're Carter, the little fat end of story." My eyes went black. Little Mr. Duan, however, was not angry, his almond-shaped eyes slightly raised, his expression looking better. "Yes," he continued, "it's that little fat guy did." I was dumbfounded. In high school, there was a fat kid in the next class. He got good grades and his family was rich, but because he was too fat, his performance in gym class was very poor. We were in joint gym class at that time, and I often saw him sitting alone. No one was willing to team up with him. I have no other problems, but the soft heart of this fault cannot change. Take the initiative to find him a number of teams, but his athletic ability is really very poor. We play badminton always up to the standard amount. Even dragged me several times, failed. Others advised me not to take care of him, but I always feel embarrassed to leave him and then find him several times. I remember he cried a lot when we failed again. He didn't want to be on my team anymore and told me to go away fiercely. I couldn't do anything about it, so I switched Teams later, IT didn't even make waves in my high school life. That little fat guy seemed to have sent me a lot of things later, but at that time I was all focused on Liam and didn't really care. After graduation, I never contacted him again. But that little fat man whose eyes are squinted is actually a small paragraph general manager. I looked at the small Duan total. This can be the face of the road. Remember correctly if the company's sports meeting. I saw him have 8 packed abdominal muscles. The male big 18 changes. Small Duan always went to reinvest it a fetus it. No wonder they say fat people are potential stocks. Seeing me think up, small Duan eyes flashed a hint of uncertainty. He was about to speak, not far away, but suddenly came a cold sentence. What are you doing? I turned my head and saw Liam holding Emily's hand and looking over with an ugly face at my heart sank, and the hand on my sleeve was unconsciously squeezed tight. More than a month had passed since the day we broke up, and this was the first time Liam and I had seen each other. His and Emily's clasped hands still stung, reminding me of that day's humiliation and making me unconsciously want to run away. Just then, Duan always looked askance at my expression. He lifted his eyelids and put one arm on my shoulder. I end my dumbfounded gaze. He pulled a 3/4 smile from the corner of his mouth and said to Liam, "Isn't this an old classmate? I brought my family to the wedding." I've never seen Liam's face so dark in my life. Not that I'm making a fool of myself, but he looks like a husband who's caught his wife stealing a man. See you later. Mr. Duan gave them a perfunctory wave. We're going in first. I was turned around together with his arm around my neck, the sight behind me burning so hot that it was almost about to burn through my back. You cried the other day because of him. Duan always whispered coolly in my ear. I knew he was probably taking it out on me and didn't break away, sort of acquiescing. Ch. He rolled his eyes. What the hell? If I were you, I definitely wouldn't let you cry. What kind of mess is this? I cried and laughed and followed him into the banquet hall. The wedding was lavishly decorated, with countless star chandeliers hanging down overhead, as if a river of stars was flowing. It is also bad luck. I and Liam also divided in the same table. Small Duan always keep giving me dishes. Liam's face is getting more and more smelly. One side of Emily cannot care about, a pair of eyes nailed to my body, as if the next second will be lifting the table and up. I couldn't sit still. The presence of that line of sight was too strong. So I casually threw down a sentence, "I'm going to the restroom," and ran out. A result, just as I came out the door and breathed a sigh of relief, my wrist was grabbed by a hand. I turned around, and Liam, with a handsome face, yanked me to the side without a word. "What are you doing?" I tried to shake him off, but he hit me so hard that my wrist hurt like hell, and I didn't even break free. Only after dragging me into an empty stairwell did Liam slam the door and pin me against the wall. His dark eyes downcast and his face so gloomy it looked like it could drip water. "You have a boyfriend?" I laughed coldly. "None of your business. You don't want to delay me, not as you wish." Liam choked and took a step back. He looked a little annoyed and rubbed his face hard. "Nina, there's no way to force feelings. You can't just find a random guy just to piss me off. You're being irresponsible." I was so furious that I was in a trance for a moment. This man in front of me who was accusing me with great righteousness was really the teenager in my memory. What the hell have I been into these 10 years? Casual? I sneered. My boyfriend is the president of a listed company. His family has a 9-figure starting point. He is good-looking, rich, and good to me, so you can just find one of these for me. Liam was about to say more, but I turned cold. "Liam, since you want to make a clean break, don't pull any punches with me," I said. "From now on, you just take care of your Emily, whether I'm good or bad, dead or alive. It's none of your business." After I said that, I turned around and left. When I was going back, Xiao Duan kept slanting his eyes at me, but his pair of almond-shaped eyes were brimming with love under the skylight, so he really couldn't be fierce. When I sat down, he said fiercely, "Nina, what kind of shit did you write in the report you submitted yesterday? Go back and work overtime for me later." I was stunned. "Boss, what are you smoking? Did you run into your ex-girlfriend on the mat just now? I think you're just too busy with your work. You still have time for men." He blanched at me. Originally, I was a bit angry, but after his gags, I couldn't be angry anymore and fought with him. Liam came back soon after. but his face looked very bad. And when Emily gave him food, he just pushed it away in annoyance. Emily was stunned and looked over at me. Her eyes, always gentle and watery, seemed to have ice in them, with a bit of probing mischief. I was too lazy to bother with her, and left early after eating a few bites hastily. Xiao Duan always chased out and insisted on seeing me off, but I refused. My heart is a little messy, very much want to be alone quietly. I and Liam, this sinful relationship cannot continue, so a muddled account, sooner or later to talk about it. When I went home in the evening, my WeChat friend added out a stranger. However, just a glance, I recognized who it was. The avatar was the same friend circle that Liam had once posted. A picture of him and Emily together. I thought about it and approved Emily's request. Emily's message came quickly, and she was well aware that I knew who she was. I want to talk to you, that I replied. Talk about what? The message showed that it was being typed, and then deleted and typed again. So obviously Emily hadn't thought about what to say, and was struggling with it as she typed. A few moments later, the message came. I know you and Liam were close growing up, and I appreciate how you've taken care of him over the years. But I think it's important for men and women to get along. I'll take care of him in the future, so you don't have to worry about it, and I hope you can keep your distance. I looked at the message and really felt puzzled in my heart. Can it be that Liam likes Emily just because they share the same outlook and magnetic field? Otherwise, how could they come to me one by one and talk so shamelessly? I was too lazy to type and sent her a voice directly. First of all, I haven't approached Liam since you guys got together. Secondly, he's looking for me today because he's sick, not because of me. Lastly, I've already broken up with Liam, so there's no need for you to come to me in the future. So why don't you take care of your own man? Then I also did not care what she had to say, simply and quickly deleted and pulled Black a Dragon. By the way, Liam also pulled into the blacklist. These 10 years together probably has exhausted all of our destiny, since it is destined to have no hope. To stay is just a waste of sadness. It would be better to delete it and go our separate ways. On the anniversary of Liam's mom's death, I hesitated for a long time, but still did not go. Usually I will go with him to pay tribute. His father died early. The elders of the family also left, scattered. His mother is his only relative. Liam's feelings for his mother are very deep. His mom left a long period of time, cannot come out. Once depressed and even light life, I accompanied him through those dark days. Now he has come out, there are new people to accompany him to go. I will not go in the way. But I didn't expect Liam to call me when he was about to leave work. ID blacked out his phone and called from a different number. His voice so haggard that I didn't recognize who it was for a moment. Where are you? I queried. What? Liam repeated. I'm at my mom's grave. Why didn't you come? I was dumbfounded for a moment, and then whispered softly. You'll have Emily with you from now on, so I won't be there. Liam was silent for a while and said in a low voice, She didn't come. I'll wait for you here. Probably afraid of my refusal, he added. Not as a lover. Friends are still counted. My mom is good to you. After saying that, he hung up the phone. I frowned deeply, but finally decided to take a look. Liam was right. When his mom was around, she took pity on me for my parents not caring at my young age and always took care of me. When she passed away, I didn't feel much better than Liam did. I said hello to Mr. Duan and stormed out of the office in front of his murderous eyes, all the way to the cemetery. I found Liam sitting on the ground without any image in front of the empty grave. He didn't look at me, but just said, Do you remember what my mother was like? A layer of snow fell on the cemetery in winter, and as far as the eye could see, except for the gray tombstones, it was all white. So desolate that it was a bit lonely. I put the pastry in my hand in front of the tombstone, sat down next to Liam and thought about it. Aunt Willow was a very gentle person. I've never seen anyone as gentle in my life. I remember Liam's mother as a standard Southern woman, always wearing a long linen-colored dress, and if it was winter, she would change into a long white coat, put her hair behind her head, and fix it with a hairpin, gentle and moving. When Liam got into a fight at school, I would rush up to help him, and the two of us would go home covered in bruises and in a mess. Liam's mom wouldn't scold us, but just sighed and shed tears while treating our wounds. She also made delicious pastries, the Chinese kind, and I still remember how gentle she was when she whispered in my ear, "Ning Ning, Auntie made pastries, get up and have some." That was probably my dream mom. Liam's ideal partner criteria was like that too. He brushed the snow off the tombstone with his hand, his voice a little lonely. "Nina, there are times when I'm confused. I don't know what I want exactly." I didn't understand and frowned at him. Liam glanced at me, the corner of his mouth raised a sneer, and pulled out a piece of paper from his pocket that was already frayed. I recognized it immediately as his ideal partner criteria. He wrote down these 28 criteria when he was 17 years old, and ever since then this piece of paper has stood between us like a sea that I can't cross no matter how hard I try. Liam had kept the paper well all these years, but in my shocked gaze, he coldly tore it to pieces and threw it with force. The wind whistled and swept away the paper, and it was torn to pieces. The whistling wind suddenly swept up the broken paper and disappeared into the sky in a flurry of snow. I stared wide-eyed. "You've been possessed." Liam let out a long breath of relief, as if some invisible shackles had snapped from him, and he was finally free. He turned his head, his eyes gradually lit up with color, and opened his mouth as if to say something to me. My cell phone, however, suddenly rang at this moment. I picked it up and saw that it was General Manager Xiao Duan. Mr. Xiao Duan was very grumpy, and the second the phone was connected, he burst out like a machine gun. "Nina, what kind of shit is the report you submitted? I'll limit you to 30 minutes to rush back to the company immediately, or else this year's performance bonus will be cancelled," I said with a bitter face. "It's not worth it, Mr. Duan. I didn't make this report. It's Mr. Liu who made it. If you want to cancel the performance bonus, then cancel his." Mr. Duan was furious. "You dare to talk back. If you don't come back, next year's bonus will be gone, and the year after that will be gone, and I'll even send you to the New Guinea branch, so that you can watch the big baboons show their teeth in Africa. You're crazy." Xiao Duan always seems like a menopausal woman, unpredictable. Obviously with me on New Year's Eve is still good. Why always move to lose his temper with me? I sighed. I know, I'll be right back." After saying that I waved my hand towards Liam. "I have something to do first." Liam stuck his hands in the pockets of his gray coat and looked at me with complicated eyes. "You don't want to be with that man, Nina. He's not right for you." He was up to his old tricks again. I got angry when I heard those words and couldn't help but mock. "I'm sorry, but he fits my ideal partner criteria." Liam was stunned. "What criteria?" The way Xiao Duan rolled his eyes and gave Liam my candy that day appeared in front of my eyes. "What the hell? I wouldn't let you cry if I were you." I couldn't help but laugh. "He wouldn't make me cry." Liam wrinkled his eyebrows. "Can you believe a man's flowery words? Nina, that man looks like a playboy. You can't hold him." I raised my eyelids and smiled coldly. "Don't bother. It's not like I've been a dog licker for a long time and you're still not used to being laid off and reemployed, so you have to have me around you to be happy, right, Liam?" I said, looking at him. "At least we've been together for years. Don't be so mean." Liam looked as if he had been stabbed in the back. He turned pale and looked at me incredulously, as if he couldn't understand how I, who had always been so obedient to him, could say such a thing. I felt very meaningless and did not want to say anything more, so I turned around and walked into the wind and snowed. As soon as I entered the 28th floor of the company, I saw that Mr. Duan was holding his arms and leaning on the door frame with a smelly face, and said in a gloomy manner, "You still know to come back." His tone was like an unhappy woman waiting for her husband to come home, so I quickly changed the subject. "Where's the report? I'll read it now." Mr. Xiao Duan grunted and sat down next to me, but did not take out any report, staring at me and asking, "Did you go to see that man again?" He picked at me and said, "Good looking?" He nitpicked. "He's not as good looking as me, and he doesn't look as rich as me. What do you really like about him?" I obediently said I was blind before. I don't like him anymore. Xiao Duan always didn't expect me to be so sensible, froze for a moment before stuttering. "Then you are still saved." The office was quiet, with only the faint sound of wind from the central air conditioner. The overhead light wasn't very bright, and the soft yellowish color spilled over us. I smiled bitterly. "Mr. Duan, you didn't call me back this late just to educate me, did you?" General Manager Xiao Duan glanced at me and grunted coldly. By the time you come back from your relationship to do it, the yellow flowers will be cold. I've already finished it. I was a little surprised. This report was done by Manager Liu, but as his subordinate it was only right that I do it. Xiao Duan is always the president. How could he personally do something so trivial? But after all, it's a relief from my workload, I gratefully said. Thank you, boss. Boss, you're so nice. Who wouldn't just thank me? Xiao Duan didn't eat this. I begged for advice. Then how do I thank you? He bowed his head and stopped talking. The light reflected on his lowered eyelashes, and I realized that Mr. Duan's eyelashes were very long and dense, like false eyelashes, making people envious and jealous. Mr. Duan? Mr. Little Duan's lips moved and said something in a small voice before I could hear him. His own face swished red. I was startled. What did you say? Little Duan was always silent for a while, as if he was cheering himself up, and finally raised his head to stare at me fiercely, and said in a broken voice, Then give me a kiss. Me? I have not yet reacted. Small Duan's suddenly red face, fleeing as if dropping a sentence. You heard wrong. He was about to run away. I was probably out of my mind and didn't know what I was thinking, so I subconsciously grabbed him. Mr. Duan was a tall man, but he was still being pulled by the corner of my shirt. Oops. I secretly screamed bad. I yanked him for what? Originally he walked away. Now this is not even more embarrassing, but for some reason I never let go. The two of us just stayed in this position, neither of us said a word. After a long time, I lowered my head and whispered, This isn't quite fair to you. But I probably won't forget about him for that long. Without a clue, he immediately understood what I meant. I thought Duan would always lift his foot and leave, but who would have thought that he would snort and turn around, looking at me condescendingly. Nina. Am I tall? I was confused. Tall? At 190, I can't say I'm short. Am I rich? I nodded. Rich. If he says poor, not many people would dare to say rich. He poked his head over. Am I handsome? Liam's eyes are long, narrow, phoenix eyes that are very cold when he looks at people, without any temperature. But Mr. Duan was born with a pair of amorous almond-shaped eyes, which rippled like pools of water under the light and captivated the soul. I swallowed my saliva. Handsome, really fucking handsome. That's not it. He stood up straight with satisfaction and said confidently, If you can't come out, that means I'm useless. With a wonderful man like me here, you won't be able to think of another man. He said it in such a conceited way, I should have contradicted him. But I really don't have Liam in my mind right now. All I can see is Mr. Duan, who is so proud of himself. I opened my mouth. What do you like about me? What are your ideal partner criteria? I'm not a fool. And even a fool can see how Mr. Duan behaves. It's just that I don't understand why he chose me. After 10 years of being by Liam's side, I've never been chosen, and I've lost my confidence in being loved. Chief Little Duan didn't joke this time. He seriously scrutinized me and after a while softly said, Originally there was none, but when you appeared, there was. Strangely enough, since Mr. Duan's confession, I haven't dreamed of Liam for a long time. In my dreams, there was only Mr. Duan and his moist, watercolored lips. When I woke up, I knocked my head with chagrin. I was really crazy, probably because I hadn't been with a man for too long. I was simply bewildered. That day I did not immediately agree with Mr. Duan. I just said vaguely that I still need to think about it. The small section of the total did not force me, but probably the words open up his boldness, openly every day to pick up and drop me off, in the name of, so that I get used to it in advance. Because of him, the days of losing Liam were not as hard as I thought. The days seemed to go by so uneventfully until I got a call from Emily, who had changed her number and sounded as if she had been crying, mixed with some pain and resentment. It's Emily, let's come out and meet. I frowned. What do we have to see? Emily's voice was hoarse. Just one meeting and I won't bother you anymore. You don't want me to come to you all the time. I had no choice but to go to the cafe as agreed. It was obviously evening, but Emily was wearing big sunglasses, yet she was so superior that she didn't look strange at all, but rather more elegant. I impatiently opened the door. I haven't been in contact with Liam. You don't have to if that's why you're looking for me. Emily shook her head. You went to his mom's grave, didn't you? I was a bit upset. His mom is my elder. I've been going to see her for 10 years. I can't even go to her grave now that you're together. Can I? Emily laughed bitterly. I'm so ugly now, right? I never used to be like this before. I hated the female competition, but after I got together with him, I realized what jealousy feels like. I didn't understand. Doesn't he like you very much? He's already cut himself off from me for you. What more is there to it? Likes me. You're just fooling yourself. Emily took off her sunglasses, and I saw that her eyes were red and swollen, as if she had been crying for a long time. She covered her eyes with both hands and said in a muffled voice, "Instead of liking me, it's more like he's always had an obsession in his heart. And I just happen to fit it, who exactly he likes. I'm afraid even he himself can't see it. Usually, I can listen to Liam for 3 days and 3 nights. But now I'm suddenly very annoyed. Duan must be getting anxious when he can't find me, and he might be acting up again. He's smaller than a needle's point, so it's going to take a long time to coax him. I am not interested in listening to your romantic dramas. What's your business anyway?" Emily dropped her hand and looked straight at me, a mixture of pleading and cynicism in her eyes. "Nina, now that you've broken it off, let's do it right. And no matter if he looks for you or you look for him. Don't answer his phone calls. Don't visit his mom's grave. Don't always be attached to him, as long as you disappear from his life. One day I will take your place and stand by his side." I didn't know what to say for a moment. I didn't know why Emily, who was obviously favored by him like that, would ask me that. It's hard to believe that Liam still thinks about me when he's with her, but obviously he was the one who cut our relationship with his own hands. I raised my head to speak, but Emily was yanked up. And Liam, who had come in at some point, looked at Emily with a scary face, not a trace of fondness in his eyes, as if she had become his father's murderer. "Didn't I tell you to stop looking for her?" Emily was startled, then froze in place as the disgust in Liam's eyes stung. Liam didn't look at her and hurried over to me with his hands on my shoulders. "What did she say to you? Don't you talk to her. She's crazy." Emily froze as Liam shielded me from him, and after a long moment, let out a miserable laugh. "Am I crazy? Yeah, I'm fucking crazy. Liam, if you don't like me, then why are you messing with me, just so I can see your disgusting love for each other?" Liam wrinkles his nose and shields me. "What are you talking about? You know if I'm full of shit?" Emily shrilled. "You clearly say you like me, but you don't know what colors I like, what I like to eat, and you get me all the fucking things Nina likes. You gave me lilies. But I don't even like lilies. I am allergic to lilies. Don't you know that?" "Who the hell likes lilies?" I was stunned. "The one who likes lilies is me. I've loved lilies since I was a little girl, and Liam once promised me that he would plant a yard full of them for me when I grew up." Emily continued. "Why did you freeze when you were hugging and kissing me? Who the hell were you thinking about?" Liam got annoyed. "What the hell are you talking about? Who can I be thinking about?" Emily sneered. "Then you called Nina's name while you were sleeping. Do you know that?" I was surprised and looked at Liam, my mind a mess, as if I didn't know what to say. Liam was fixed in place, his face red for a while and green for a while. He didn't dare to turn around and look at me. He just stared at Emily with hatred and yanked her down. "Don't be crazy. Hurry up and get out of here." Obviously, Liam has been looking for someone who meets the standard for 10 years, but only a few days. The once strong love has disappeared completely. These two people do not look like lovers. When they look at each other, it looks like they are enemies who do not share the same fate. Emily's tears fell. She couldn't stand it any longer. Reached out and picked up the coffee cup on the table and threw it in Liam's face, saying hysterically, "You guys make me sick." With that, she wiped her tears and ran out of the cafe. I was the only one who stood there awkwardly, not knowing what to do. Liam rubbed his brow and dragged me out of the cafe. I avoided his eyes. "It's okay, I know she rambled. I'll go first." "She didn't ramble," Liam said in a hushed voice. "The night was deep, and the traffic around us was brightly lit. I don't know when it started snowing." A flurry of snowflakes descended from the sky, colored a warm yellow by the light. My eyes widened, but I saw Liam gazing down at me, serious and earnest. "What she said is true." With those words, it was like he opened the floodgates and the rest of his words poured out. "Nina, I've been a fool for the last 10 years. My mom died and I've been chasing her image, thinking that's the kind of person I like." Snowflakes fell on Liam's shoulders and he pulled a bitter smile. "I've waited all these years for an Emily who meets every single one of my criteria. It's almost as if she's my natural mate, but am not as happy as I thought I would be. He was a little confused. I can't help but think of you when I'm with her. When we go to Disney together, I'll buy her your favorite hair bows, flowers for our anniversary. Knowing she liked roses, I bought lilies without realizing it. Even when we were hugging, I smelled her shampoo and was reminded that you used a citrus-scented shampoo. An unspeakable stab of pain floods through me and my hands clench. Liam takes a deep breath, his eyes reflecting the lights of the entire city. And me, Nina, I realize now that there are no standards for loving someone. And when she showed up, all of them went out the window. Can you come back to me? I was wrong before. I'll make it up to you, okay? His demeanor was carefully expectant, but I only found it funny. All those expectations, all that waiting, all those nights of tossing and turning and wetting the pillow with tears. If I can just say that I was confused and get away with it, then what am I for these 10 years? Is it just a joke? 3 months ago I would have cried tears of joy, but now I just feel sad and ridiculous. Liam was still waiting for my answer. I wiped a handful of melted snow from my face in a disheartened voice and whispered, "It's too late, Liam. It's already too late." "It's not too late. You like me too, don't you, Nina? Don't be mad at me." Liam gripped my shoulders anxiously. I shook my head. "Liam, liking you is too long and too painful. I am hurt, I'm scared. And I don't dare anymore." Liam said anxiously, "I won't hurt you again. I've thought it through. Nina, don't want me. The two of us have been together for so long. I know everything about you. Who else in the world is more suitable for you than me? Probably because to understand. So once know how to stab me the most painful. It would be better not to understand." Slowly grinding, I thought of Mr. Xiaoduan. He was already angry again. And he must have said something about sending me to Africa to watch gorillas. I couldn't help but smile. "Liam, you've thought it through, but I've thought it through too. I've found the one who meets my ideal partner criteria." Liam grimaced and gripped my hand hard. "It's that guy." I nodded. When I left, Liam was behind me with a black face and didn't move a muscle. He said, "I'll wait for you to come around. Sooner or later you'll realize that the two of us are the ones who should be together." I ignored him and ran off at a fast pace. Duan was still waiting for me and I couldn't keep him waiting too long. Liam came to see me a lot after that, and when I got a call from him a couple of months later, I realized it was his birthday. In previous years, I would have started preparing gifts for him long beforehand, but this year I was playing around with Mr. Duan every day, so I actually completely forgot about it. Liam's voice was a bit despondent. "It's my birthday today, and I really want to go to the mountain behind our high school to look at the stars. Nina, will you come and accompany me?" High school was the darkest time in Liam's and my life. My parents were gone, and my grandmother, who was the only person who ever took care of me, was also gone. As a teenage girl, I became a wild girl. I didn't know anything at that time, and I didn't know how to avoid suspicion, so I often went to Liam's house to spend the night to get food. Thanks to Liam's mom is a very good person, never disliked me, also do not go out to gossip. Like a mother to take care of me for a long time. After his mom left, the two of us really didn't have a home. It was a very difficult time. Liam was like a zombie every day. He didn't cry. He didn't laugh. He was like a fool. Later, I found out that the stars were very beautiful from the top of the hill behind the school, so I dragged him up the hill and pointed to the stars at the top of the hill and told him, "Auntie must be watching us from there. Auntie must be watching us from there. She will never leave us." Liam didn't say anything. He just hugged me as hard as a drowning person hugs the only driftwood. After that, we became irreplaceable in each other's lives. Later on, we often went up to the mountains to look at the stars, and whenever we were in a bad mood, we dragged each other up the mountain. The wind on the mountain is very cold. He gathered me in the jacket and do not speak, just snuggle with each other, until the university left that city. We do not go much. He said he was going to the mountains. It must be in a bad mood and need my company. But I looked to the side of the twisted head pretending not to care, but the ears erected high eavesdropping small Duan total, helplessly laughed. "Liam, I'm on a date with my boyfriend. Go by yourself." Liam was silent for a moment, his voice a little hoarse. "Nina, do you have to be so cruel to me?" I thought for a moment. "I don't want to hold you back. You can understand that, right? Those were the words he said to me at the time, and they hurt like hell. Now that I'm giving it back to him, he probably understands what it's like. Liam really didn't say anything else, and just as I was about to hang up, he whispered, "It'll be here for you." Putting the phone down, I was a little worried. Liam is always light-hearted on the surface, but he is actually a very stubborn person. Otherwise, he would not have stuck to the 28 rules for so many years. It was still cold in the evening of early spring, and I was really afraid that he would keep waiting like this. But after thinking about it, I decided not to go. There is no need to make meaningless entanglements. Our destiny is only this 10 years, the rest of the road. Sooner or later, we have to go by ourselves. The next day, Liam called me again, but I didn't answer. Just when I had almost forgotten about it, I got a call from Emily on the third day. On the phone, she was crying miserably, with a hint of hatred. "Nina, Liam is in ICU. Can you come and see him?" I was shocked. My body was like falling into an ice cave. I almost stumbled to put on my clothes and ran 2 red lights all the way to the hospital. Emily was sitting in the hallway, her eyes red from crying, hunched over a cold iron bench. "What happened to Liam?" Emily looked up at me resentfully with a sob in her voice. "Liam has been waiting for you on the mountain for 2 days and you haven't been there. His fever and pneumonia have gotten really bad." I was shocked. I knew Liam was stubborn, but I didn't expect him to be like this. The doctor just gave a critical notice. Emily covered her face. "He doesn't even have an immediate family member who can sign." "Nina, why are you doing this to him?" I stood frozen in place. It was at this moment that I realized what it meant to have been with him for 10 years. I thought I just didn't like him anymore and could care less, but for the past 10 years we have supported each other and come through each other. At this moment I was trembling. I was suddenly afraid. I was afraid that if Liam really died just like that, then I would never forgive myself for the rest of my life. The waiting time seemed to freeze. I don't know how long it took before Liam was pushed out. The doctor was soaked to the skin and said tiredly, "The patient's life is out of danger. We'll see if he's all right in the afternoon, and then we can transfer him to the general ward. Which one of you is the patient's family? Who is the patient's family? Go and settle the bill." I realized that my back was already soaked, and I slid down the wall and sat on the floor as if I had lost my strength. Liam recovered well, and he came to his senses in the evening. By that time, I had already nearly fallen asleep in his hospital bed, exhausted and scared from the whole day. When he saw me, his eyes immediately filled with smiles. "Nina, you're here." I couldn't stop my tears from falling down and said hatefully, "Are you sick? You're either spoiling me or spoiling yourself." Liam pulled the corners of his mouth with difficulty. "The biggest fool in the world. Otherwise, how would you realize how hard it is only after you're gone?" He was silent for a moment and said softly, "Nina, do I really have no chance?" I cried my eyes out, tears smashing down my chin and blotting out on the sheets. "Liam, I've been waiting for you for 10 years and you didn't show up. You're always so stubborn. You're always so stubborn, but I've come out of it. So let yourself go." Liam slowly raised his hand and wiped away my tears. He reddened his eyes and said in a trembling voice, "Don't cry. I really don't meet your ideal partner criteria, and I've made you cry again. But Nina, I really can't let go it. Doesn't matter if you don't forgive me. You've waited for me for 10 years. Now it's my turn to wait for you." I looked at him and shed tears. We've been together for 10 years, and except for Liam crying at the beginning when his mom died, he hasn't had a red eye since. Suddenly, I felt terrible. I had thought that we were going to be together for the rest of our lives, that nothing in the world could separate me from him. However, by mistake, it was destiny in the end. There is no one wrong in this entangled affair, just that we are destined to miss it. Liam was discharged from the hospital 3 days later. I told him clearly and immediately went to see Mr. Duan to apologize to him. Mr. Duan's face was already on the ground. I gave him a smile and pinched his shoulder. "Although I don't like him anymore, he and his mother took care of me in the early years. At that time I didn't have anyone in my family, if not for them taking me in. I might have died a long time ago. Think of it as returning a favor." Mr. Duan's face softened a bit. "For the last time, I'll take care of you from now on. No need for these irrelevant people." I nodded. Of course, Mr. Xiaoduan was not relenting. I have to punish you. You have to kiss me for 10 minutes. After being together for so many days, Mr. Duan's shyness had disappeared completely, and he pinched my neck and kissed me. I only felt a slight coldness on my lips, and then he said fiercely, "Close your eyes." He was fierce in his mouth, but his movements were very gentle. I couldn't help but think before I lost my oxygen, what an unromantic, overworked employee, even dating in the office. However, I couldn't help but feel warmth in my heart. I was like the fox who wanted to keep the little prince who only had roses in his heart, and walked alone in the dark night, lonely and alone, during this long and difficult wait. But it doesn't matter. The fox doesn't have a little prince, but it does have a black-hearted boss who threatens to redo the report 180 times and then secretly does it himself, yelling that he is going to send him to New Guinea. I've been traveling alone for many years, and I've finally come to my own happy ending.